our answer is, again, our technician said so, and blah, 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 that doesn't usually get it done, does it? We end up in some big negotiation and they end up giving us less than what we asked for, right? And this may or may not be the answer for you, but the way this tolerance to table works is 0 to 3 millimeters off. It's 0.3 for instance, 4 to 7.5, you get it, right? 16 and over 2 hours, okay? That's just showing you some antiquated screenshots of how to upload it. So I'm going to do a little exercise on that in a second. So what happens when you don't repair the structure? You could possibly have an unsafe vehicle. It may not react like it's supposed to if it has another accident. You could have alignment issues, all those kind of things, right? Okay. Now let's get back to this structure deal that you did. I actually, on that Maxima that I showed you, the reason why I still have that Maxima in this class is because I actually have real printouts on that Maxima. And it's hard for me to find a car like that where it's T-boned like that, and I've actually got good printouts from Carliner. So, real quick, there's our pictures again. Okay. So let's just quickly around the room. What did you put down for time?
1.5 setup, 5 pull, 2 repair, weld transfers.
Okay. So 7, 8.5 in total. 4. We got 4.5. 8. Total. 5. 4. It is total. You're right.
I had 10 hours including setup and measure.
So 8. Right. 2 to set. 6. 2 to sit. 8 to pull. Right. Which that's fine as long as we can justify the 8. Right. It's just like the judgment time. If I can justify the 8, then right.
The only way I justify it is my guys are going to be on that frame machine all day.
Right. Well, or actually have a measure, an actual printout that would actually have you fight that fight.
It out. That's it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. 6. 4.
Man, I went high, I went 15.
That's fine. Again, the reality of it is that it probably needs all of that 15, and I'm about to show you why. But could you actually negotiate the 15, right? That's where it comes into play. What'd you put down? 6. 7. That's normally what you do. 9. Huh? What'd you put? Huh? Probably not too high, actually. The car is total 7. Okay, so here's what I'm going to show you, and this is why some of the stuff I've told you before is looking at things visually, or your technician going up to this Maxima, which, by the way, this is a pretty common hit, would you not agree? Fairly common that we get one pounded low in the side, right? And it doesn't have to be a Maxima, it can be a Toyota, a Honda, or any damn unibody car, because guess what? They pretty much react the same damn way when they get hit like this, right? So here's the thing, your technician walks up to this car, and they're like, oh boss, I fixed a bunch of these. I need 2 to set, 4 to pull, right? This is probably what the insurance company's going to even pay you too, unless they want to argue about the 4 and I'll give you 2. 2 to set, 4 to pull, right? And then cut, and weld the new shit in, hang some doors, send it to paint, boom, boom, right, Phil? Down the road motors, right? So here's the problem with that. Is that all sounds real good because Johnny the tech told us I fixed a shitload of those, boss. They're all hit the same, they all look the same, but here's the reality, right? Matter of fact, this is a better one. So here's the real printout on that Maxima on the Carliner, right? It was set up and measured, and this is what it came back. So right at the point of impact, right, this point, I'm in 82 millimeters. That shouldn't surprise any of us in this room, right? That's where it took the impact. It's driven in 8 millimeters, 14 at this point, right? And if we bounce up here, the center pillar's damaged, and that's all pretty much what we would expect, right? But as we looked at that car, and I know we just looked at photos, and we said, oh, the front's pretty uniform and the back looked pretty uniform. Well, you're right, it was pretty uniform, but look at the measurements on the rear of this car, okay? What happened when this car got hit, right, point 19, 18, 17, is it pulled the car over and down, right? So in lay terms in our collision world, the car is banana, right? You ever heard that term before? So, looking at the deck lid from a visual indicator standpoint doesn't do shit for you because guess what? It pulled the right rear and the left rear over together, and even the whole ass end of the car is bent and twisted. But when we look at it, right, the gaps look pretty close, and we probably aren't going to address this at all. Would you agree?
It's going to dog track.
Yeah, it's going to dog track, right? Or Or it's the same car that after your tech gets the doors hung on them, they come up to you, hey boss, you got $1? Right?
Right.
Yeah, here's $1. What's he want the $1 for? He wants to put it in
Check the door.
yeah, he wants to put it in the top of the door. I don't know why I'm getting wind noise out of this thing, boss. I don't know what the problem is. Well, I can tell you what the problem is. The whole ass end of the car is swung over, and you didn't address it, so now we're short, right?
Alright,
And-
so you put the Uniside on, get paid for the Uniside, call for the supplement, have them come and total it.
Could be that way, right? My point is, and you're right, the reality of it is that if you don't measure this car, and you just look at that car and say it needs Uniside and 2 doors, and a little rough pull to get it back into place, maybe beat on that floor a little bit, because it's probably damaged, right? And you just let it go like this, you haven't addressed any of this. You just let the car leave your shop with structure damage on it, right? And the reason why I show you this one is because I'm telling you right now, I let Hondas out of my shop like this. I know I did. Because I know that we never measured the ass end of the car. We only addressed the point of impact, thinking that we were doing the right thing, but we were not doing the right thing. This is what was it, like a 1990 something Maxima.
99.
So, is that what it said?
99.
99. So 20 years, right? I don't know about y'all, but if you're honest with yourself, I know I let Honda Civics leave my shop where my technicians were trying to figure out why the hell the door, and what do they do then, Phil? You know, bend the frickin' top of the door frame in, right? Man, this door must be screwed up, boss. They must have sent us a bad door or something. I don't, you know. It ain't the door. The car's jacked. They don't send doors that are jacked. They don't, you know? So anyway, is that kind of eye-opening? It
Yeah,
should be.
That's where, like you're saying, the insurance dude's using his eyes. But you give him his paperwork, then you can't argue it.
Right. So if you had this, now granted, on this car it is a total, right? Because there's so much. If we go back to that tolerance, your 24 hours is actually probably about what I need to fix that car structurally. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to make multiple pulls to get the length and the height and get the width back, and it's probably a total, right?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Even if it was in 2016, it might be a total structure.
The airbags would have gone off, they'll kill it anyway.
Maybe, right? But anyway, the point is that if you think you know just by looking at it, and your tech knows, you are kidding yourself. And this again is a 1999 car. There's 20 years of cars that are just like this one that, you know, we're not addressing properly. I love this printout, by the way, from Carliner, how it literally just shows that, right? So here's if you want to see what happens, this is from iCar, actually, they sent us this. Same type of car, right? See how the damage travels? Actually.
Look at that right front apron.
I want to show you the next one, if I can. Okay, now this one's better. Oops. Gotta click on the hyperlink. I like this better, it gives a better view. So, I mean, I could argue that this car's kind of hit like that Maxima, would you not agree?
Yes.
Right, little low and in the side. Watch the damage travel into the floor pan, all the way back into the rear floor pan, right? And we wonder why that Maxima pulled around like it did, right? I'm telling you, you have cars doing that all the damn time in your shop right now. You're not looking at it, okay? That should scare the shit out of you, quite honestly. So there you go. All right, so real quick, I want to, just in case someone wants that tolerance to table, I just want to show you how that works real quick. So on your page, like 100, okay, I'm going to show you how, here's you can see the table, okay? I just want to show you, if this is something that you want to use to justify the time that you're putting on the car, right? That's what this tolerance table is all about, and you have a blank spot there in your book. So here's how it works. If you look at, because we used a different car for this because the Maxima would have been way too much time, right? So we used this one, which is a Chief. Plus, we have to play fair, you know, we have to have Carolina and Chief, and everybody gives us stuff, because that way we're not playing favorites, right? So the way this works is if you look at control point 5, which if you look at your book, see how it has the 5 out here on the control point side? No, you can't because you don't have the measure piece. Okay. See the control points are there, 5, 12, 18, 19, 23. See what I'm saying? Those are the control points. So control point 5, and if you look at control point 5, its width is -9, length +7, width -6. Now here's what I'm going to tell you when you're reading this stuff. The negative and the positive just doesn't mean anything. All it means is it's off, right? So right now in our current state, if we use 3 mils of tolerance, which is what the standard is, if I look at control point 5, the 9 turns into a 6, because we have 3, you have to subtract 3 from it. Does that make sense? Because we have 3 mils of tolerance, 3 millimeters of tolerance. So the 9 becomes a 6, the 7 becomes a 4, the 6 becomes a 3. We have a total of 13 mils of movement, which if you look at your table equates to 1.5 hours of structure time. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm just going to give you the answers. Control point 12, if you look at control point 12, right, we've got the 8 turns into a 5, and the 12, the 2 12s turns into 9s, right? Everybody following me on how this works? Then we've got 23 mils of movement, 23 millimeters of movement. On control point 12 on the left side turns into 2 hours. On the right side, we had just 5 millimeters of movement, which turns into 0.5 on that right side, which gives us a total on control point 12 of 2.5 hours. Does that make sense? Right? I'm just showing, this is the only method that I can find out there in our industry, by the way, of how to apply math to structure damage. So if you guys and gals can find something else, you understand what I'm doing here, right? I'm trying to give you a tool to justify the why, right? Whether we believe it or not, it's just a tool to justify the why. So here's the end, right? The last 3 control points have nothing but 18. The 5 turns into 2, the 2 12s turns into 9, 20 millimeters of movement. And if you look at this car and you use Hein-Warner's tolerance to table method, you come up with 6.3 hours to repair this vehicle that we have right here. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions, concerns?
Of actual full time.
Of actual full time, yeah.
They get creative with.
And you still need set. This is just giving you pull time and giving you a mathematical equation of how you got there. My point of giving this to you is if you do decide that you want to use it, when the adjuster comes up to you and says, how the hell did you come up with this time? And then you show them, well, I used this tolerance to hours table that Carolina or Hein-Warner made up, they're going to go, oh shit, now what do I say? That's not part of my script. He's not supposed to have that. You see what I'm saying? So, it's up to y'all. I'm not going to make you do that, so don't fret. Page items related to frame. I've touched on most of this stuff. Again, all of these things are just, think about the things that you have to do that are not included in the P pages when it has to do with structure, right? And some of this stuff, hopefully we're not fabricating shit anymore, but some of this stuff, we certainly, removing anti-corrosion materials and reapplying them, we should be billing for that, right? All those things. Repairing the pinch welds, which one of you told me that you were going to repair pinch welds, right? So, which is necessary, correct? Until you go to fixture, then you won't have that problem, by the way. Fixture does not require you to ruin the clamp sets on the car. I'm not going to have you write an estimate by hand. You're welcome. Right here is usually when I pull out the first estimate. I spend a little bit of time trying to find all the page missing items. But considering they made this Karbach thing, I can tell already that Karbach brewery is more important than what I'm doing right now.
You know, visualize.
No. I just want to hit this is just going to show you, oh, I do want to give you these scraps. I'm going to take it back with me. Plus, for those of you who don't spray my paint, it's always nice when you've got an Akzo Nobel mouse pad sitting in your office to piss off the other paint suppliers, because that's fun. They don't let it bother me like they do, but they get mad. So this mouse pad that I'm handing you, can throw it away if you want. I'm not gonna, like lose any sleep over it or whatever. But the cool thing about it is it's actually a nice little reference of, your parts table. I've had shops, and I'm not telling you to go in and redo your parts table, but you could go in and make your parts table match those acronyms, and then this and your parts table coincide, you know what I mean? And then you use it for a reference, right, to make sure that you're getting all of those missed items, right? You don't get one. That's how life works.
UYL man.
I ran out. Phil doesn't get one. Sorry, Phil. I don't know what to tell you. Life's tough.
I'd take one of my side.
The ASA guide, this ASA thing, there's my mouse pad, but I've updated the mouse pad. The ASA guide, have y'all ever seen that quick guide for the ASA? I don't really have one.